Today, we're going to learn more about cells. I know that with the last lesson, you watched the grossest video with like the grossest teeth, and you learned about the discovery of cells and how it was confirmed, and the cell theory was developed with the discovery of the microscope, and you're learning how to look at things through a microscope and what they might look like. And we talked a little bit about unicellular organisms, which means one cell, and multicellular organisms, which means more than one cell, like complex organisms. And today we're really just going to talk about like microscopic parts and pieces and functions of the cell. Our first learning target today is I can describe the structure and function of the cell wall and cell membrane. So our first term is cell wall. Say it with me, cell wall. It's the structure surrounding the cell membrane of plant cells made of cellulose. This only appears in plant cells, okay? But I'm going to ask you to diagram a cell wall and describe its main functions here. The next thing we're going to talk about is a cell membrane. Say it with me, cell membrane. It's the outside boundary of a cell that separates the cell from its environment. And I'm going to ask you to diagram a cell wall and describe its main functions here. We are in notebook page 67. We are going to do one more notebook page today, notebook page 68, the learning target being I can explain the role of the nucleus of a cell. So the cell nucleus actually controls the cell and directs all cell activity. Cell nucleus. Say it with me, cell nucleus. It's kind of like the brain of the cell. Cytoplasm. This is like one of my favorite words ever. Cytoplasm. I don't know. It just sounds like goo and ooh and slime and whatever. And it actually is gooey, ooey, and slimy. Cytoplasm. Say it with me. Cytoplasm. I hope it's your favorite word now too. The fluid that fills cells. So you're going to actually draw a cell diagram here that contains the cell nucleus and cytoplasm, and you're going to do some writing here to describe the function of the nucleus and cytoplasm. So what do those things look like, Mrs. Tomlinson? Well, I got artsy today. This is a simple cell. I have to zoom out just a tad so you can see it. This is a simple cell. And there it is. This is a simple cell, okay? Just this like thing here. This is a simple cell. And in the simple cell is the cytoplasm. All of this is like this liquidy gel-like stuff. It's kind of like when you have a raw egg, it's the white of the raw egg. It's kind of slimy and gooey and awesome. Yep, that's the cytoplasm. This right here, this dot in the middle, that is the nucleus. That's the center of a cell. It like does all the cell thinking. It tells things to come and go. It has a DNA, so it tells it how to replicate and make copies of itself. It's the boss. The nucleus is the boss. And then you have the cell membrane. The cell membrane is actually really awesome. This is the cell membrane right here. The cell membrane is on all cells. And what it is like the boundary between the cell and the outside environment. And it lets things in and out, materials that the cell needs come in, and the materials that the cell excretes, ejects, excretes, waste, it pushes it out of the cell so that it's not needed and the body gets rid of it. So the cell membrane is super awesome. It's kind of like your skin. Like your skin keeps all your organs and all your bones and all your blood and all your everything in. And your skin has little holes in it, pores, right? That can let things in and out, like moisture, right? Sweat, perspiration. My favorite, not my favorite smell, B-O, right? Perspiration. Odors come out of your skin, but your skin really is your first protection against the environment around you. And so the cell membrane is just like your skin in that way. All right, so let's talk about, and this would be like what an animal cell might look like, kind of circular and round, okay? This is what a plant cell would look like. It looks a little bit more rectangular, okay? So just like our other cells, all cells have this cytoplasm, gooey stuff in the middle. Most cells have a nucleus. Some cells do not, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So remember, the nucleus is in the center. And then we have to talk about the cell membrane. This is what we just were talking about. This is like the skin, right? So the cell membrane is just inside of the cell wall, this thick black line. That's the cell wall. Now, only plants have a cell wall. Animals do not have a cell wall. Plants have a cell wall. It's really rigid. It helps them keep their shape. Like bark is definitely rigid, right? So stems of plants and trunks, things like that, if you think of the bark, they're really hard and rigid, and so that the actual plant can grow really tall and the leaves and stems can branch out. Now, in a plant cell in the leaves and some of the smaller stems, plant cells are actually a little bit flexible in their cell walls, but the cell wall is really a really rigid structure, and it helps the plant keep its shape. Okay, so you'll find that plant cells and animal cells have nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membranes, but only plant cells have a cell wall. So also, here's something that's super cool about a plant cell. It will help the cell keep its shape even when the water from transpiration escapes from the cell. So it might look a little bit droopy. All right, if you want to picture something like peeling apart a plant cell, if you have like an egg, you have that outer shell that's really hard. That would be like this, like a cell wall, like really hard. And that little, like, have you ever peeled a hard-boiled egg? You get that little skin in there. The skin is like the cell membrane. And then, so that kind of gives you an idea that the cell wall and the cell membrane in a plant cell kind of work together to protect it from the environment. All right, today you have 2 notebook pages, a little bit of drawing, but that's it. So do a really decent job with your diagrams. All right, be glad you're not in an actual cell. Do your homework so you don't ever end up in an actual cell. Just studying about them and stuff. That's good.